Hello fellow investors, this is Alex and Rateb from the Go Coaching Club, and in this video episode we want to kind of share with you just how little money you really need to get started in real estate investing if you use our approach. Now before we share with you our approach, I want to share a little bit about how most folks do it and why most folks actually never get started because of the huge startup costs, and it usually goes something like this. So for the sake of this example, let's go ahead and use $150,000 as the property value, which is about roughly what the median value is in Atlanta, Georgia, where we're shooting this from. Now 10% is usually what most folks will put down to get a house, and so 10% of $150,000 of course is $15,000. Now the closing costs will range anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000. So for the sake of this, let's just use $3,000. So now we're up to $18,000. And let's further assume that it takes about 4 months to sell the house, and the monthly payments are about $1,000. So now you have $15,000 plus $3,000, which is $18,000, plus 4 months of holding costs, which is $22,000. So using that approach, is understandable why most folks actually never get started doing real estate investing. Now this is in a market that's cheap. You can imagine you're in like the West Coast or the Northeast or Florida, the houses are going to be $300,000, $400,000. So,
well, the other thing you didn't mention, Alex, which most people already think about, is repair costs.
Yep.
Which, if they do any repair costs, that's more money out of your pocket right away at the beginning. Those are the things we suggest you don't do. The way we do it, or our approach is, you spend less than $250 to maybe $300, and there are some approaches that we can show you that doesn't require any money. All it requires your time, and you just pick up the phone and make some phone calls. So that would be spending no money. But again, let's talk about $250, maybe $300 of advertising costs, so you can find a deal where you can make about $10,000 to $15,000 profit out of. So if you look at it that way, spend $250 to $300 on buying or finding the property so you can get an option on, and then you try to advertise it and sell it to someone who can buy the property, and that would take you another $300, maybe to $500. And now you're spending less than $1,000 on the whole thing. That includes your the expenses of your internet, your having a cell phone, which are the two things that is required to run this business with. So if you have those, adding all those expenses, you are in it for $1,000, and you can make anywhere between $10,000 to $15,000 profit, and you don't have to deal with the tenants, repairs, or even the holding costs or the closing costs.
Yep.
So there, you don't need any of those four things that you mentioned earlier.
Right. So this is such a huge difference that I just wanted you guys to watch this video more than once, because when this was first explained to me about 10 years ago, it was so radically different. I said, no, there's got to be a mistake. I mean, the math just doesn't add up. And the biggest thing here is that you're not really buying the property. That's the difference. And we already covered in the previous episode about what an option really is. But the whole key is that because you're not really taking on the ownership of the property, you're taking on just the opportunity to sell the property. You've eliminated 99% of the risk. So most of the people watching this video, I think you can probably come up with that money. Like Rateb said, there's ways to do this where it's actually nearly free, where you can do it for under $100.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, so the whole point is that you can do this for roughly between $300 and $500, get your first deal, and the goal is to really make your first check between $10,000 and $15,000, and that's in our market. If you're living in a more expensive area, the first check is probably going to be closer around $20,000 and above. And I don't think most of you guys are probably going to be complaining about that if you get a bigger check.
The other thing I would basically clarify here, that since Alex and I are going to be helping you do your business or do your first deal with no money out of your pocket. Now, if you're doing some other approaches where you're buying the property and you're taking more risk, I want you to make more money. $15,000 is the approach we are going to show you that's going to require you less than $1,000 to get the property and to sell it and make $15,000. Now, if you're spending $5,000 or $10,000 to buy the property, and you're taking the risk of holding house payments, taking the title, and all of that, I would like you to make at least $25,000 per deal. That's the way we approach it, and that's what I recommend.
Right, and again, these houses are around $150,000.
Yep.
Always adjust the numbers to your local market. So folks, like I said, this is one of our specialties, which is showing folks, fellow investors actually have to get started for under $1,000 once you use our approach. And the thing I want to emphasize is this: is you could really literally build $1 million plus portfolio for under $100.
Yep.
And not have to worry about the $10,000 or $20,000 of holding costs that normally comes with it. So definitely we encourage you guys, don't let the fact you have to come up with the 10%, because the 10% is a very antiquated way of actually doing real estate investing, and it certainly doesn't give you, it creates a lot of risk, and we really don't see any upside to that model at all. I believe we have a much safer, much cleaner, and way less risky model, and it actually allows you to create money far, far faster, allows you to sleep at night as well. So again, folks, this is Alex and Rotev from the Go Coaching Club, and we definitely want to go ahead and encourage you guys to go do your first deal after getting the right training. And as long as you have less than $1,000, we can certainly show you guys how to really quickly accelerate results and get your first check, and so you can sleep even better at night. So,
Yep.
till next episode, folks. This is Alex and Rotev signing off.